My name is Lynn Karoly. I'm a senior economist at the RAND Corporation. And I actually go back to the beginning of the journal, having been part of the editorial team under Scott Farrow, the first editor for the journal. And that really reflects the fact that I was part of the early group that helped establish the society, from a series of conferences leading to support from the MacArthur Foundation and the establishment of the journal. So it was a real honor to be there from the starting point and to continue to be closely involved with the society and the journal now. Well, I think one thing that makes the journal unique, and really the society as well, is that we're organized around a series of methods rather than a particular substantive area or research area. And so what's quite exciting about that is that we're all bringing to bear this set of tools, but we come at it from very different policy or issue areas. And so what's nice about the journal is it provides that venue for people to really perfect the method and to do so and show how the methods can be used: benefit cost analysis, cost effectiveness analysis, cost analysis, risk analysis, all of those different ways in which that encompasses the scope of the journal, to reflect that in a variety of issue topic areas. And I think what ultimately the society is about is advancing those methods and the ability to use those tools in a variety of areas, and to do so in a way that is rigorous and high quality, and we move the field forward. So I think as both when I was part of the editorial team and then more recently as a member of the editorial board, what I really like to see is the journal reflecting that diversity of issue areas, the array of methods. We call it the Journal of Benefit Cost Analysis, but it is a broader set of tools that we use, and to reflect the breadth of the field geographically. So increasingly over time, we're really trying to showcase the fact that these are issues and tools that are used throughout the world. And as the society has become more international, that's reflected in the journal as well. And it's both drawing on the research community that's across different countries and different regions of the world, but also that the research itself, the topics that we're working on, are relevant across the world in different countries and different settings, low-income settings to high-income settings. And I think that having the journal reflect that, breadth and diversity is something over time that we've really been able to advance. Well, I think the impact of the journal is in part due to the fact that we are working on a set of methods and issues that have a lot of policy relevance. So it's the articles that get published are not just esoteric topics that maybe a small number of people are interested in. These are real issues that have implication for policy decisions at often very high levels. And again, ones that are relevant not only for the United States, but other countries, other settings. And I think that ultimately we do have an audience in mind that may be more diverse than many academic journals, and that we are trying to appeal to academics, but also practitioners. And so we're looking to be accessible to those who are really more consumers of this research than necessarily producers. And so it's got to be accessible to them, and to help them understand, where are the issues in the field in using these methods, where are the advances being made, what should I expect to see in a high quality analysis. And so that bridge between the more academically oriented, even some who might be working on kind of theoretical issues as well as more applied issues, and those who are consuming and using the research to help in decision making, that's a pretty broad group of audience members, and probably broader than I think a lot of academic journals would aspire to. So in terms of I think some of the exciting developments are ways in which we can apply the tools in new ways. Increasingly we have access to more and better data, to be able to use data from countries and settings that we might not have been able to do so in the past, and really push the field in ways that we hadn't been able to do before. Much of what we do really is applied, So as opportunities for data, arise and policy issues become, more widespread. I mean, think about issues around climate, energy, transportation. These are, now global issues. And so I think the journal provides an opportunity to really see these issues, propagate through, different countries, different policy issues and considerations. So I think, the journal's looking to reflect those kinds of changes in our field, the wider applicability, the wider relevance. I think ultimately, we're looking at issues around trade-offs. Most policy considerations aren't simple black and white, but, considering costs, considering benefits, and those trade-offs and their relative strengths, and how do we think about these issues, in a distributional way. All these kinds of considerations are ones that are really, front and center in a lot of policy considerations. So the journal, I think, is going to continue to have a lot of relevance as we continue to debate, some of these very challenging issues. I think I would say that in terms of issues around open access, ultimately you have to think about the journal if you're an editor or on the editorial board, both from a kind of business perspective, right? Is the journal making money? Or, we drawing in subscriptions? What are the costs of operating the journal? But at the same time, we want that dissemination to happen. And partly we do that through the society, and membership entitles you to access to the journal. But many other people, that may not be an option for them. They may not be at an institution that subscribes. So the open access approach, I think, is one that, we really have felt as a successful strategy for seeing the journal, have impact in ways that it might not have otherwise. It would be wonderful if we could make all the articles open access, but that has considerations as well. But I think the strategy has been to say, which are the articles that are going to have the most impact, and let's make sure that those are out there either through a 30-day window or in perpetuity, and to view that really as an investment in our field and a contribution that the society is making. So another thing with the journal, as when it was first established, we also had in mind audiences, practitioners, teachers, and so there have been opportunities to use the journal and the articles in the journal to serve that purpose as well. And I think that's going to continue to be, one of the areas of emphasis. Again, I mentioned the idea of consumers versus producers, and to see the journal as a tool for helping people understand what these methods can and cannot do, how they can be used in policymaking, and as part of teaching. We're increasingly seeing these methods used across the board in a lot of fields, and so there's a need to help educate people about how these methods can be used.